By saying that the visual image in itself is abstract and mysterious, it is difficult to accurately translate the visual language into the literary. Multiple meanings may be derived from a singular piece or a body of work. Essentially, the visual image is a translation of feeling and of instinct. I consider the works that I've created to be influenced on a visceral level, a spontaneous place that absorbs all of the information that I've come in contact with, that collages and attempts to understand relationships between the physical and ethereal world and the seen and the unseen. The Senior Bachelor of Fine Arts exhibition opened last night, and the work I am speaking of this morning is on display in the bar gallery just around the corner. In the fall of 2006, I applied for and received an IU Southeast Student Research Fellowship to support my series of large-scale works that explore the visual relationships between environment, transformation, and healing. My work is inspired directly by the world of theoretical physics and by archetypal symbolism. I choose to paint images of molecular-level biology in order to acquaint them with the conscious mind. Archetypes are synonymous with mythological imagery and are symbols that represent contents within the psyche that are not part of everyday conscious experience. They are common psychic structures that parallel the human physical structure. Archetypes are described as primordial in that they have been ingrained in our minds prior to our birth, and are also described as universal symbols that can be found all over the world and throughout history. Oh, I went to sleep. Maybe that's Artists have played an essential role in the work of anatomists, recording information and drawings that were later studied throughout the scientific world. Anatomical illustrations have developed into an important art form that has contributed to the maturation of and the relationship between art and science. I have consistently experimented with the depiction of human forms while studying at IUS, specifically human figures and environments, anatomical organs, and cellular structures. The process of anatomical study involves the prying apart itself. The dissecting mind is divorced from the dissected body. Our identification with anatomical images always creates a mirror effect. Anatomical representations are always both self and other. The process becomes a playful exploration to synthesize the two, or rather becomes an ironic comment on the impossibility of synthesis. The interior of our bodies is hidden to us. What happens beneath the skin is mysterious, fearful, and amazing. In antiquity, the body's internal structure was the subject of speculation, fantasy, and some study, but there were few efforts to represent it in pictures. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century and the cascade of new technologies that followed helped to inspire a new spectacular science of anatomy and new spectacular visions of the body. Anatomical imagery proliferated, detailed and informative, but also whimsical, surreal, and beautiful. And grotesque, a study that reveals as much about the outer world as it does in itself. I seek to unify the worlds that exist within worlds, intermingling the macrocosmic and microcosmic into one tangible reality. This involves overlapping images of landscape, the subatomic world, and the tissues of the body. Most recently, I have been painting skeletal forms in electromagnetically charged environments. Trails of subatomic particles are imaged by physicists in bubble chambers to offer a vision of the microcosmic movements of the universe. In my work, skeletal forms are placed over top the microcosmic trails that bring vitality to all forms of life and of the inanimate. I am interested in representing the cyclical nature of existence in forms of energy, namely subatomic particles, that animate our surroundings. In a recent painting, the surgical removal of a tumor overlaps billowing smokestacks, the gross-level brain and spinal cord, and the modern methods of detecting disease. I am creating works that delve into and overcome fear. This process involves purging the use of fear as a means for managing life, so that repressed energies may surface for healing. Disparate images are combined, collaged, and superimposed in a process that creates a new relationship between them. According to author Pam Ward in The Essentials of Being, it is time for us to have understanding of the way our thoughts, words, and deeds contribute to the world conditions and our own personal health. This we cannot do if we continue to accept another individual's interpretation and do not accept responsibility for our own physical body and the growth of our spirit. Combining the disciplines of psychology, anatomy, and geology, I seek to create works that embody spiritual energy, reflecting the multi-layered reality in which we live. The image of an anatomical heart has the power to move us to realize the wonder of physical form while healing our sense of disconnectedness from one another. Einstein explained that a human being is a part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us with our personal desires into affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Nobody is able to achieve this completely, but the striving for such achievement is in itself a part of the liberation and a foundation for inner security. Here are some examples of recent work that I've done. This is last summer in 2006. It's a painting entitled Marrow. And here are